Hey y'all, welcome to yet another episode of Debonair Dialogue. Okay, we're getting into it tonight. This episode is really, really special to me because we're going to be talking about my story. We're going to be getting into how I feel about certain things, my journey. And really quickly, somebody asked me, well, what is your story? And my response was everything that I've been through, things that I feel that are important, things that I feel that I went through for me and someone else, things that I even went through that I didn't deserve to go through. So with that being said, we're going to get right into it. Tonight, I felt more comfortable having my girl Sydney here. She's not going to be on camera tonight, but you will hear her asking me questions. But just know that she's pretty. Know that she's a bad, bad bitch. Okay. And we're going to get right into it. So I feel like she's going to make me cry tonight, but it was really important for me to let y'all see who Devin is authentically. And not to say that I haven't been thus far, but I really want to go into the deeper parts where I told y'all in the beginning, I want people to leave crying in a good way, feeling like they can relate, connect, and all the above. So we're going to go ahead and get started. If y'all see my mascara run and y'all turn me into a meme, I'm done with this show. I'm done with this show.
Okay.
Right? Okay.
And we got tissues for you.
Right. And we got tissues. So
we got
we're
the
good.
tissues.
We got tissues and candles. Atmosphere set. I'm looking like Mrs. Rogers, not Mr. Rogers, but
Claire
Mrs.
Huxtable.
Rogers. Claire Huxtable.
It's
exactly.
really giving money and wealth.
Yes.
But it's just us tonight, friend. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling like, honestly, just ready because it's like, I feel like a lot of the reason why I'm in this platform is to talk about what I've been through. Like, yeah,
Definitely.
we kiki. Yeah, like, you know, we talk about so many things. We have fun. We talk about other people's issues. But I know personally, I have so much inside of me that needs to be said.
Amen.
So I'm really excited about it.
Right. So listen, with that being said, let's jump right into it. And what we're going to do, so lovely Devin I gave him the homework of breaking his life up into major events. So I broke up my life into major events and things that have affected me, and not even affected me in a negative place. That's what I explained to him, is affected you to make you the person that you are now, the person that we see on camera.
Am I looking at you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I know it's
okay.
Weird. We're doing this Vlad style. Shout out to Vlad, okay? So the main thing, the first thing that I wanted to talk about was losing your dad. Mm-hmm. You were very close to your dad growing up. Your dad, from what I understand, was a very integral part of your life and raising you to be the man that you are. When did you lose your dad?
So I lost my dad 2 years ago.
Okay.
And the hardest part, honestly, is that I was not always close to my dad. So it was like, you know, when I was younger, you know, like my dad was that man. Like he was that man, like in our city, to our family, to our mom, to his kids. Like he was that man. Like my mom literally wanted for nothing. We wanted for nothing. Like he would literally shop for my mom. She literally had to do nothing. Like even her clothes, like she literally wanted for nothing.
Yeah.
But there was a time where he spent a lot of time in jail. And that was a time for me where I'm like realizing like, okay, I'm a young man. Like, you know, a lot of my friends have mother and father in the household. My dad's gone. Like, what's going on? And then to know that your dad is in jail or in prison, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is like, instantly for you and other people, okay, my dad's not like everybody else's dad. Yeah. Even though we have no idea what the other dads are doing, they could be doing the same things. They could be, you know, domestic violence. You never know, but you're still taking the face value of what everybody else has going on. So for a while that put a strain on our relationship because A, you weren't there. And then B, I wanted the same dad that a lot of my friends had. You know, I went to all of our schools pretty much for the most part were predominantly white schools, areas where it's like you have your mom and your dad. They might not be shit, but you have your mom and your dad. Yeah, you know? Yeah. And so it's just like you miss out on that and then you start to build resentment to be like, okay, well, why does my mom have to be a single mom if, you know, like if y'all had us together, why aren't you, you know, like doing the things that other dads do?
Yep. So
out of that part of my life, one of the main things I'll never forget, my dad came home from jail one of the times. And I was in Boy Scouts at the time. And we went camping. So like we literally like all the dads like went and like to the camping store and like paid for everything up front. My dad included and my grandfather, they went, paid for everything up front. And then we went on the camping trip for the weekend. And that's like one of the most fond memories that I have of my dad. and I had to be probably like in the 6th grade.
Yeah.
But it's like, again, that was a moment that I felt like you should be doing this all the time, but that wasn't happening all the time.
Yeah.
But we got to a place before he passed away where, like, literally, like, you know, I have siblings in Georgia, I have siblings in Maryland, and, you know, him and my mom, they did divorce, but they were so dedicated to, we're co-parenting everybody. We're co-parenting everybody. We're making this work. And you couldn't tell that they were divorced, you know, and you couldn't tell that there was a time that I resented my dad. And yes, we've had arguments, we've had blowouts, and we had a final conversation that brought us back together. And it was just like the whole time, like, I was the one, like, you know, like, it's like, it's really weird. And I'm trying to say it in the way that I'm like thinking it.
Yeah.
But I felt like, why can't you just be the dad like everybody else? Mm-hmm.
I definitely get that.
Why can't you be that way?
Because I was, you know, growing up, not to cut you off, but I want to make sure that you understand that what you're saying does make sense. And I know there's a lot of people and children out there that can relate. Mm-hmm. I grew up, Caleb knows, we grew up together, and I grew up in suburbia land, you know, Peachtree City. Oh, everybody's got money, but my family was dead broke. Mm-hmm. I'm going to school and I'm coming home and I don't have water. I don't have hot water. I don't have heat. So I get what you're saying. So with that being said, around which age would you say that because I know you said your dad went to prison. Mm-hmm. What age was that? And around which age, twofold question, around which age do you think that the wool that had been pulled over your eyes previously to think I have this perfect life, I have this perfect dad, what age did it click for you? Something is missing.
Yes. My dad was in and out of jail before he went to prison. And from what I've been told from my mother and father, they've never hid anything from us. So what I've been told, my dad got out of jail. His first time going to jail, he got out probably a month before I was born. And my mom was 17, he was 18. He got out of jail a month before I was born. But as far as the wool, like, being like gone, honestly, when I was an adult, honestly, when my ex and I broke up, and my dad was like, whatever you need, I'm going to do for you. And it wasn't like, okay, now you're being a dad, because I felt like, okay, you're being a dad before that. Like, once he came home from jail, you're trying to do the best that you can do. You know, and I appreciated that. But for me, it was that connection to be like, he showed me, like, I want to be here for you in any way that I could be here for you. Literally, like, my dad literally, like, got me an apartment. My dad got me furniture. My dad helped move that furniture. My dad was like, I don't care about any of the times that we've missed. This is now. And then even moving to Atlanta, my youngest brother was here already. My youngest sister was here. My nieces were here. My youngest nieces were here. Yeah, my youngest nieces were here. And it was like we never missed a beat, but he was intentional. And I feel like it was a realization of, like, the whole time you've been saying, like, you want a dad to be like all the other dads, but no, you don't. No, you don't. And no, I didn't. And I ended up being thankful, and I didn't realize it until that moment. And then especially after he passed away, thinking about the memories, thinking about the conversations that we did have when we could have them. And it's like, no, like, I have the best dad. I didn't have him all the time that I wanted, but I have the best dad in the world. And it's like, that's something that I'm a person that I look at how everything should be. Yes. And if it's not, then that's when, like, there's a deficit for me. You know, maybe I'm sad, maybe I'm angry, but I'm a logic person. You should have a mom, you should have a dad. Yeah. You know, like that, that's just what y'all do, you know? So when it wasn't originally like that, and it wasn't the way that everybody else had it, and again, I didn't know they're behind the scenes of what they had going on, but I just went for face value of, you have your mom and dad. So it took, like, learning. And the thing that for all of us, and I speak for all of my siblings, they would vouch for me, is that we all finally got to a place where, you know, I have 2 siblings in Maryland, and then I have the youngest 2 that are here in Georgia. Okay. And so when my dad was in Georgia, all of us could be together. When the other 2 siblings came out, we could all be together. But it was still like, okay, dad is really dadding right now. Dad is dadding. Dad is grandfathering. You know, dad is just like, you know, dad is really dadding. And then we literally, like, had to face losing. And it's like, for me, and I even told my dad, like, I remember telling my dad at my apartment, like, he's on the phone with his friends. He's like, Devin and Warren, which my youngest brother is Warren. My dad is Warren. My grandfather is Warren.
Okay.
So I don't know how they skip me and my brother to go to the youngest. But anyway, he's telling his friends, like, Devin and Warren have this high rise, the top of Atlanta, blah, blah. Like, he's always been proud, no matter what, if it's been college, a A or a B. Not a C, but A, B, whatever. He's always been proud.
Yeah.
So it's like, to have him like feel that way, like, he really showed how he felt about us before he passed away. So for all of us to feel like, oh, wow, like, dad is around. He's so proud. Like, he loves to like be around us. Like, this is his family. This is his lineage. And then to not have that, it's like, well, wait a minute. Like, everything we've wanted our whole lives has finally come around dad wise. And then now you're gone.
Yeah.
And it's like so many unanswered questions, unanswered feelings. And it's like, how do we navigate? Even with my mom, they were co-parenting.
That's all she knew.
That's all she knew. They were together. They were high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
So it's like, seeing the effects of him not being here, like, is like crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane.
As a man, as one of the men in your family, how do you operate? How do you, because this is still very fresh. In any terms, how do you keep going to make sure that the things that your dad has instilled in you and that time that you did have where your dad was dadding, how do you keep that same energy, that same Devin, that same, because I mean, you're in school, you're doing a show, you're a teacher, like you wear a lot of different hats. You're a friend, you're uncle, you're everything to everybody. And one thing that I can say about Mr. Devin Robertson is that you're happy everywhere that you go.
Happy.
And when I first met you, that's what made me gravitate towards you, was the happy presence and energy that you carry, without even knowing all the hardships and troubles that you faced. So how do you keep yourself? And I know we all have our moments where we cry in our closets, but how do you keep that in moderation?
My mom, my dad, and my grandparents. So my mom is still here, thank God.
Thank God.
My dad has passed away. And I remember talking about my parents on, I think, maybe the introductory episode.
You did, yeah.
And I talked about their strength. And it's like, even now, like even yesterday, my mom's like, okay, well, it's Valentine's Day, so I'm going to bring you lunch.
Oh.
And it's like, like, I know that you miss my dad on Valentine's Day. You're literally still, like, your high school sweetheart's gone. Like, I think about relationships that I've been through with people for maybe 3-4 years, maybe even a month, honestly, girl.
Yeah.
And then to be high school sweethearts since you were 14 years old, and that person is no longer, y'all did life together.
Every step of the way.
Y'all grew up from 14 up. Y'all grew up together.
Yeah. And you have
charges were exchanged.
But you know what it is?
Like,
your mom, she's a mom first.
Right, exactly.
And in her brain, she's not thinking about how she feels. And she is thinking about how she feels, but you guys are her coping mechanism.
Right.
Like when I just asked you, how do you get through? She's your first answer.
I'm her first.
I'm sure you're her first. And you guys will always have that connection and that bond. So with that being said, my final chapter when it comes to speaking about your dad, when you need it, go ahead. Go ahead.
But in addition to that,
yes, keep going.
Strength. And if my dad was right here right now, he wouldn't be on the couch, but he'd be literally in that window right there with Caleb. And he would be like, look, he would have his drink in his hand, looking around. He'd be like, are they good on the mic?
Yeah.
Dad, you know nothing about production or not. Like, what are you doing? But that's it. Like, his lane is whatever lane we're in. And I love that because even when, like, I told him that I was gay. First of all, my mom told him that I was gay.
Okay.
After that whole exchange that. And so he got on board, like, when he was coming over and my boyfriend and I were living together, he realized he didn't know what top and bottom was. Didn't care to tell him. Don't want him to know what I'm doing sexually or anything. Thank you. Exactly. But he got the hint of, okay, you see that Devin does the cooking and the cleaning. And Devin's boyfriend takes out the trash, gets the gas, whatever.
He could see the role.
So when my dad would come around, he didn't, he was cool. If the trash should be taken out, my dad would take the trash out. And he did things like, Devin, your car's on E, so I'm about to, and I feel like he kind of jumped into the flow of what I wanted my life to be. And I know that he didn't agree. My dad is a manly man, like a manly man to where it's like, I remember being a kid and he saw me playing hand games and he was like, yeah, I see you playing hand games with the girls. And I'm like, and so I literally stopped because I felt like, you know what I mean? Like my dad does not like that. And like growing up, I don't want to say that it was like a hyper masculinity with him, but he had his idea. He was born obviously in the 70s. Mm-hmm. He had his idea of what a man looks like and what a man does. So for him to be so accepting of everything, you know, with knowing how he grew up, knowing his mentality, knowing as a child that I was looked at in a weird way for playing hand games, and now you're taking out my trash, and I'm a grown-ass man, like, that meant a lot. Yeah. That meant a lot to me. Yeah. So
to have that relationship, you spoke on, you know, as a little boy, you kind of felt like, and I'm just adding words to it, but like you had to hide that side of you. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, I did.
So with feeling that way, like, okay, so I'm going to break it down into my terms. Like, when I was a little girl, I've been with Caleb since we were kids. My daddy didn't know that, though. You know, I had to play it cool. But Caleb and my brother, they play football and stuff together. So we go to the park and I act like I didn't know him. It was very hard to transition into, now this is my boyfriend. So to bring that back to your conversation, going from this is bad, I've been taught this is bad. And then you lived a percentage of your life, a good chunk of your life as a heterosexual, cisgender presenting male. How did you change? How did you come out to your family? And what was your dad's response, the first response?
Yes. The crazy thing is one of my students asked me and he couldn't get it out. And they're like, Mr. Robertson, we want to know. And he's literally going like this, but there's no words. But he's like,
"Are you eating?"
No, they know. Like all of my students, they know, they're accepting of it, whatever. But there comes questions. There comes like, we want to know more. Like, you know. Yeah. And they're like, so when did this like?
When did you decide?
So honestly, when I think about it, I think about going way, way back and realizing that. It's weird because it's like I would rather do most of the things that the girls are doing only because I'm not athletic. Like I don't want to work. I don't want to go sweat for fucking hours. No, thank you. I don't want to be in a hot sun. I don't want to be in a hot sun. I don't want to sweat for hours. I don't want no shoulder pads. I don't want to run no laps. I have asthma. I don't want to do that. So I feel like even if I'm not gay, I don't want to do things that most men and boys do. That's A.
Yeah.
But I remember just being attracted to guys in a way of, oh, he's cute at a very young age. Like, oh, he's cute or he's handsome. And in my head, I'm like, well, so it like he's cute, but like I'm with the girl. Like I want the girl. Like you know, I want the pretty girl. I want the prettiest girl. And all of my girlfriends have been very pretty, very gorgeous, whatever. And that's what I wanted. And I will say that when I was with them, none of that was like what do they call it? Like a facade or anything like that. It was none of that. Like I really did like them, and we did what we did, you know. But after my last girlfriend, I started dating guys and realized like, okay, I like guys more than girls.
When was this?
And this was 2014, I believe. This was brand new. I didn't come out until almost 2015. So with that being said, I met this guy. So what I used to do was. There was a lot of my friends from college that were DL as well. And I'm saying DL because I didn't realize I was gay or wasn't really ready for that.
I feel
so that's why I used DL. Yeah. But they knew what they were doing, but they're like, everybody doesn't know. So we were cool. Like, I live in Maryland. I'm going to be showing DC. Y'all an hour away.
Yeah.
Anybody I see out in the town tonight is not going to be in my town next week, so I can be as gay as I want to be.
Okay.
And I was as gay as I wanted to be.
Yes.
So I kept doing that. And then the last gay thing, my friend hit me up and was like, hey, there's 3 of my homeboys are coming through. They want to come through before they get on the road to go back to Virginia. They want to come through. So I'm like, okay, let's go get some more champagne. Let them come through. Like, we cooking. So, you know, we're cooking breakfast, whatever, cooking brunch. And the homeboys come through. I'm pretty much like, you know, just cooking, drinking a little bit, not really that much outspoken because I'm just here to have fun.
You just live,
and be gay behind the scenes. That's it. And then the one was like, and this is the one that didn't say much the whole time.
Those be the ones.
And he had me.
Okay.
He had me. And he was like, can you come here for a minute? So I'm like, and I literally, like, I'm dumb as shit in this point. Because I'm not like, oh, he likes me, whatever. I'm just like, what's up? What happened?
Hey,
like, what? Right. And he's like, can I get your number before I leave? Because blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, sure. So he calls me literally as soon as they leave. So my friends are like, who's calling you from Virginia? And I'm like, I don't know. And literally that's how it started. So literally that was a weekend. That following weekend, he came to Maryland. That following weekend, I went to Virginia. And it kept being that. And I remember like lying to my siblings, lying to my parents, saying, hey, I met this girl at this photo shoot.
Yeah.
And her family lives in Virginia. And I'm in Virginia with her and her family. And I kept that up the whole time I was with my man and his family.
What drove you to lie? Or made you feel like you had to?
Because I didn't realize that this is like who I am and this can be a lifestyle. Like my marriage has always been on my thing. Like since a kid, like marriage has been like, I want to be married. I want to have kids. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a humanitarian. I want to be fabulous. I want to love God. I want to spread his word. Like I want to do all of it. I want all of it.
Yes.
And I'm doing it, but I didn't think that was possible if I like a guy or am with a guy.
That's just another hurdle.
It's a hurdle. But with that came, okay, how many times are you gone in Virginia when you're still in Maryland, but you don't want people to pull up on you because you got this guy at your house? So for me, it was like, I'm tired. I'm tired. I have no choice because I'm not going to keep ditching my family and friends. And I want him to be a part of everything I'm a part of. Yeah. So that's what literally like made me come out. My mom and dad's first reaction. I know you asked about dad, but my mom and dad's first reaction, they cried. And it was just, and I'm like, what is it? Like, what's the crying? And it's like, well, because you didn't feel like you could come to us. And I get that, but I couldn't even come to myself. I didn't identify with gay.
Yeah, that's not who you felt like you were.
I didn't identify with that.
Why do you need a label?
And I don't. And I still don't. But I couldn't even admit that I want to be with a guy. Like, even if we don't say a label and we just say, I want to be with a guy, I want to be loved the most by a guy. I love being in a guy's arms. I love me a big old smile. Oh.
Cheek to cheek.
Cheek to cheek. Like I couldn't say that before. But like you said, being happy and like literally all of my friends, my closest friends, even some of my exes are like, I've never seen you this happy. And my only regret of everything is that why did it take me so long to be this happy?
I feel that.
You know?
Yeah.
And my only thing for anybody that's watching is that don't wait. Like, don't wait. Like, if you know what you want and you know what you love, act on it. You know, even if it's not acting on a person, but act on being in the lane of what you want and who you are. And one thing that I literally just learned yesterday in grad school when I was in class is that no is a sentence. So just like yes is a sentence. That's it. Yes. And the person could be like this.
Yep.
Okay, keep your ear to the ground, girl, because I said what I said.
I gave you my answer.
No, keep your ear to the ground, because I said what I said. No, those are sentences. Yeah. There's no explanation. And I've just always felt like, you know, there's going to be a response no matter what I do. Yeah. And I feel like that's still the case. Yeah. But I'm just learning to, like, grasp it differently.
So with that being said, when you did finally feel like you could come out and you did accept the lifestyle that you've created for yourself now, you know, as of now, like, one thing I love about you, Devin, is that you create your own lane and you stay in it. So one thing about you, yes, you may have your nails done, you may have your brows done, you may have your lashes on, but at the end of the day, you still
let the girls know.
Oh, these
it's
are real.
Mascara.
These are real. These are real.
Let the girls know it's
let
mascara.
The girls know. Yeah. They want them, but these are real. But one thing about you is that at the end of the day, you still are going to have your crisp hairline. You know, like you still have these masculine parts of you. Do you ever feel like you have to conform? Because I know that we live in a world now to where it's like you're a girl or you're a boy. And that's it. Whether it's a cisgender, transgender, you're a girl or you're a boy. Do you feel like you have to transform to be who you are?
I feel like the only times that I would have to transform is if I had a son.
Let's get into it.
And so, like, y'all, like, I've talked about kids around y'all before. My family, my friends, those closest to me, even people that have viewed me on any platform, any social media, you know, I've talked about wanting a family.
Definitely.
So that whole being married thing, I know I talked about, that was like something I always wanted. That is something I still want. It just looks different now. And I feel like as far as the masculinity and like the toning it down, things like that, if and when I have a son. Like, I feel like that's the only times, even with like my nieces, my nephews now, their parents have done a good job of not explaining Uncle Devin.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is Uncle Devin. Like, there's nothing that really needs to be said. The older you get, the more that you'll maybe have questions and grow into. Even my nieces, they're 3 years old, my youngest nieces. And they used to be like, I told Uncle Devin to come here, but she's still over there. And, right. It's like, but they don't know because they see hair, they see nails, and they're 3 years old.
Yeah.
So does that affect me? Yes, it does, because it's like, I don't identify as a woman. If I did, then okay, girl, you're right. She.
Yes.
I don't identify as a woman. Like, we joke about like saying, "Hey, girl," and this and that. We joke about those
still a
things.
Man at the end of the day.
But I'm still a man. I still identify as one.
Yes.
I'm still gonna have my nails done and my eyebrows, and my mascara, and I'm still gonna be a man.
Yes.
So with that, it's just like, if and when I had a son, I would feel like I would need to do something differently, because I wouldn't want this to be the only thing that a man does.
Yeah.
So I think that if I had a son, it would be essential for my partner to be, I would want him to be super masculine, not over masculine or hyper masculine.
Where it's toxic,
To where it's toxic, but enough to where you can see both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And then whatever side you fall in, fall in.
I agree.
But I don't want you to be trained. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, Daddy's getting his nails done, so come with me or go with Grandma. Daddy's getting a pedicure. Daddy's getting his eyebrows done. Daddy has a date. Daddy's going to a fitting. Daddy, I don't want it to be everything of relates to a female traditionally. And that does scare me. That does scare me. What also scares me is the fact that I don't have kids yet. Because I keep telling everybody, if I don't have them in 2 years, but realistically, what are those 2 years going to look like and how, like all of that scares me, because again, like, I see like my interactions with my students and my response with my students. My principal will literally text me and be like, I know that you're 5 minutes late. And he's joking, but he's like, I know you're 5 minutes late. And I'm like, how? He's like, because your students are coming to me looking for you.
Because they love you.
Because they love me. And I'm like, now I want to fight them.
Yeah, because now I'm in trouble.
Right, exactly. But at the same time, it's like, if these are my students,
yeah,
and even with my youngest nieces,
yes,
the way that y'all respond to me and the way that I care about y'all and love y'all and want to make sure that you're okay, imagine what I would do with my own kids. Like, imagine the life that they would be able to live. And we're not even talking like money-wise and stuff like that, but just imagine the love, the support, the wisdom that I can give you based off of what my kids go through and what I go through when I'm talking to the parents of my students.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, imagine like what that could be. So one of my fears is never having that opportunity to give the love, support, and knowledge and mistakes to children of my own, even though I do consider my students and my nieces and nephews my own.
Devin, I will say I thoroughly enjoyed not only sharing this conversation with you, but for you allowing me into your life the way that you have, and the information that you've shared with all of us tonight. I applaud you for being so vulnerable. This is not the last time that we're going to do this. I would love to make this a thing where we check in.
Me too. I love talking to you. You make me feel comfortable.
Listen, you make me feel comfortable. And we have plenty of love for you here. But with that being said, in your closing stance, and I just want to wrap it, what is your ultimate goal? It can be mental, physical, whatever. Your ultimate goal in the next 90 days. I know people always say a year, 2 years, 90 days. Where do you want to be?
90 days, I want to look back at now and be like, there's no way that was 90 days ago. There's no way. Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Physically, I want a BBL, but I'm not going to get one. So I hope in 90 days my love handles are gone and my butt is sticking out a little more.
Put a prayer in.
Right, put a prayer in. Mentally, I want to be just at a space of clarity. Clarity, because I feel like, there's so much going on right now that it's just a lot.
Yeah.
And I just want clarity. Like, I feel like I'm in all the right lanes and stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
But I just want clarity to be able to be like, okay, take it down. You're good. Clarify, you're good. Spiritually, I want to enhance. Like, I feel like spiritually, I'm interacting so much spiritually to where I can interact with somebody and then I feel their spirit. And it's like, this ain't my feeling. Like, what happened to me today? Why am I feeling like this?
Yeah,
like,
I'm carrying it.
Right, I'm carrying it. So I want to be more aware of, hey, you're about to run into somebody that you're about to carry something.
Yeah.
So make sure that you're good enough to carry if you're in that space.
I feel that.
So, I just want to make sure that I'm good on every base, but I want to ultimately make sure that there's a purpose for this. Like, it's not like if I wanted to just look cute in lights, like we could just do a photo shoot really quick.
Okay.
We've done it before.
Yes.
We could do a video shoot. But for an actual podcast, an actual conversation, like I want people to take something away and benefit.
Yes.
Benefit from us, you know, and anybody that's connected. So even with the guests that have been on the show, even with you asking me the questions, I want people to see and hear the sincerity of what we are doing, not trying to do, but what we're doing.
And I definitely think that the sincerity is coming across because it is sincere. And with that being said, I want to thank you once more for sharing your life with us. I continue to digging a little bit more, but I will let you close out your show, Debonair Dialogue. And this is Sid, and I'm out. And I'll let Devin close us up.
All right. Well, y'all just heard from Sid. We want to thank her so much for being a part of the show. And really quickly, you guys don't know how instrumental Sid has been with my journey in podcasting in general. And we'll leave it at that. She's been really instrumental, and I appreciate her for being here tonight. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I hope it wasn't too sappy for you guys. But I did tell you guys that, thank God my mascara is not running tonight, because when the questions were coming, I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to be like raccoon face under the eyes, but I'm not. But I really thank you guys for tuning in. I hope that there's a portion or something that you can relate with or take to somebody that could relate. And I want you guys to keep tuning in. Like there's no blueprint of like literally this show will be that, this show will be that, this show will be this, but it's literally something different every show. So I hope that you guys continue to tune in, continue to subscribe, tell us what you want to hear. Look up 3 Milli Productions. They are amazing. So if you're in Atlanta area, I don't know if they'll travel, but if you're in Atlanta area, please hit them up. They are amazing, an amazing team in general. So I just want to say that, and I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. You said I'm giving Claire Huxtable?
Yes, you are.
I think Claire would cross her legs.
She would, because it gives wealth.
She would cross her legs.
And show that ring.
And show the ring. 5 more episodes from now, hopefully it'll be on this finger.
It will. Claim it.
Yes, but thank you all again. Sincerely, thank you all. And we'll see you guys on the next episode of Debonair Dialogue.